without Clay, of course, that he assumed that responsibility. RJ, quickly, LeBron missed his third game in a row this weekend, 3 straight losses. He's heading back to LA for treatment on his sore knee, and he's 132 years old. You start to get nervous. You've played with LeBron. How does the team react when he's out? What can we expect from the Lakers over the next few games?
Well, I think this is the moment for Anthony Davis. It's the moment for Russell Westbrook. Look, LeBron's knee tightness or whatever it is, it's nothing crazy. It's just he's old, and so sometimes there takes a little bit of amount of maintenance. Like, we've seen the run that he's been on the last month and a half, and so you know that there's a ton of usage, and then every once in a while something flares up. I don't think it's anything structural. There's no surgery or anything. It's just more of like, hey, old man, you got to take a little bit of a break. But the idea is you take a break while those other guys carry you.
Thanks, RJ. Appreciate it. It's back to football because the big game is all set.
Welcome to NBA Today. I'm Malika Andrews, joined by our senior writer, Ramona Shelburne. We also have a couple of NBA champs with us and a football player, apparently, Richard Jefferson and Kendrick Perkins. We're going to get into all of the news around the league, including Joe Ingles' injury and the impact it may have on the Utah Jazz. I don't know what we're going to do with him, but we're going to start with taking a look back at the Hawks and Lakers. That game was yesterday. The Hawks, they have won 7 straight games thanks to 36 points and 12 dimes from Trae Young. That's Trae's 12th 30-point 10-assist game this season. That is by far the most in the NBA. And then for the Lakers, Anthony Davis is starting to look like his old self. He put up 27 points and 5 boards, with 18 of those points coming in the Lakers' 71-point first half. And then there's Russell Westbrook, who went for 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 12 assists in the loss. And the Lakers, remember, they were without LeBron James. So before the game, Frank Vogel said this about LeBron's status. He said, as long as the swelling is there, quote, he's going to be out and we'll get him back as soon as we can. So, Ramona, I want to start with you here. What are you hearing about LeBron's knee injury?
Well, it's described to me as just wear and tear. Okay, so they did imaging on his knee. It came back clean except for the swelling. You just got to get the swelling out. And there's a chance he plays on Wednesday, but you shouldn't really read into whether he plays or not in terms of the severity of that injury. He's not going to play until they get the swelling out because this is his 19th year. You don't want to push it.
So the Lakers don't sound too concerned, but how concerned should they be, Richard?
I don't think they should be. Again, this is just fatigue. This is more of like, I'm talking about the health of LeBron, not their overall season, their team. I'm talking about the health of LeBron. I don't think they should be that concerned. This is something that pops up. It's in his 19th season. He's played more minutes than anyone in NBA history. There's going to be some flare-ups at certain times.
And that's why you should be concerned for all the reasons you just pointed out. He's in his 19th season, all the minutes, the wear and tear. But again, watching the game, this is why you bring in Russell Westbrook and you have Anthony Davis. You think that they should be able to take the load off of Bron. But Bron has been asked to do so much. Now they're to this point. So they should be concerned.
Because every day that he is out, okay, somebody on the Lakers said, every day he's out, we sink. I mean, this is so much on a guy who is 37 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
So perhaps that answers my next question, Perk. How long can the Lakers really afford here to be without LeBron? Can it be for an extended period of time?
No.
Jake, say
we agree. Yeah.
Hell no. And look, here's the thing. Yesterday I was watching the game. I'm like, okay, the Lakers up by 9 at halftime. They got it going. I'm watching them play with a different type of swag. And then all of a sudden, they go back to their old habits. It's like the spirit on the defensive end. Like, here, you can get whatever you want on our end. Like, the rookie came in off the bench, and I believe he had 16 points. 8 of those were dunks, and not in transition, just in the half-court set. So I'm looking, you got the Dwight Howard. He subs into the game. He's pouting up and down the damn floor. I'm watching his body language. To me, when I looked at that game last night and overall, the bright spot has been Malik Monk, right? So I think that the offense really should start having him more involved more than they really do now. Like, this guy is showing us that he wanted. He's playing with passion. So I mean, the Lakers, they are who they are. I said it weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't see that. I hate telling good people, bad things, but I just don't. I really, well, not you, but most people. The Lakers are not going to really have an impact at the end of the season. They're not going to really have an impact in the postseason. That is my personal opinion. Given the way they're playing, given the history of injury, given all of these things and the way the top teams are playing, I just feel like the Lakers are going to get into the postseason, and then they're probably going to struggle through. And then this offseason, they've got a lot of stuff to make. And now we're saying this literally at the All-Star break.
But here's what they've played 16 games with Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, and LeBron James. 16.
Yeah.
That's not a large sample size. And they looked pretty darn good the last time we saw them in Brooklyn with those three guys. LeBron James is the key to it, though. And if he's not out there, they sink. And I think you watch that game, they're up going into the fourth quarter. You can't get a defensive effort on the road in a game that you need to win. I don't know.
That's winnable.
That's winnable.
Right, but this isn't all about the Lakers and their struggles, because the Hawks, I mentioned it, they've won 7 in a row, and that's in part thanks to an offense that's scoring almost 120 points per 100 possessions and shooting an NBA best 51% from the floor during the win streak. And then the defense, it hasn't been bad either. They rank 5th in defensive efficiency during that streak. So, Perk, do you think the Hawks can sort of replicate what they did last season with the hot second half that then resulted them in going into the conference finals?
You know what? I really do. I do, because they playing with a different spirit, and it's because they actually have a superstar on their team in Trae Young. He is a superstar. I was watching him last night, and I've been watching him over this win streak. He cannot be guarded. No one could guard him. Like, you just got to hope that Trae missed, and that's when he's shooting those long-range threes. But with him having those lob threat guys at the basket with Capella and Collins and the rookie that's coming in off the bench, Trae Young has been phenomenal, and I think that he has found that edge. I thought he, they were down a little bit. He was out for a while, and now they got their swag back. So I do think that, I'm not saying they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals, but I do think they're going to get back into the postseason.
Well, this is the team that everybody expected them to be, right? Like, look, I'm glad that they're playing well now. But you look at the Phoenix Suns that had a ton of success. Yep. They showed back up, locked in from the jump. Let's go. We're not going to sit here and ease our way into the postseason. So I hope that Atlanta can replicate what they did in the second half. But also, you have questions in Atlanta. What happened in that first half? You signed everybody, you brought everybody back, and even their GM was like, hey, maybe we gave the wrong people some money, or maybe we just shouldn't have brought back everyone, because they weren't duplicating the same effort that they had in the second half of the season. But since he said that, and over this last couple of weeks, they have started playing outstanding basketball.
Also, this is a team that a couple weeks ago, before this streak started, you started to hear them be very active in the trade market. People know about that. I still think, if you would have asked, I talked to somebody in Atlanta today, if you would have asked them a couple weeks ago, are they going to stick with what they have and just ride in the second half of the year? The answer would have been different a few weeks ago. But the way they're playing right now and the way they played last year, it looks like they're heading for that same turnaround. And as you said, Richard, when you put stuff on the table like that, when people hear their names in trade
Cam
talks,
Reddish gone, right? And that's not a knock on Cam.
John Collins obviously got paid, had heard his name in some trade conversations. Right. Playing a lot better right now.
So do you expect to see maybe less activity than we would have a couple of weeks ago at the trade deadline for Atlanta now?
I still think they're out there. I think they're still very interested in Ben Simmons. There's still discussions around that. This gives you pause, though, to say, well, maybe they should just let this ride. It makes the decision a little more complicated about whether you should make some deals.
Right, and Richard mentioned it. Trae Young missed an extended period of time when he was dealing with COVID-19. He was so looking forward to playing in that Christmas Day game. That gets taken away from him in a sense. He wasn't symptomatic, so he was incredibly frustrated with that whole streak, getting that time to gel. But last season, I got to sit down with Trae right before they were playing in the conference finals against the Milwaukee Bucks. And Trae said, I'm not going to be satisfied until I bring a championship to Atlanta. And now he's sort of starting to play like that. Like he's not satisfied yet. But you know who else is starting to play a little like that? Kyrie Irving. Coming up on NBA Today.
RJ got a
Despite the Nets loss, Kyrie